Hi, my name is Forrest Smith, and I'm a Deputy Fire Chief for the Mesa Fire and Medical Department. Mesa Fire and Medical Department is an all-hazards fire department, which means we're a full-service fire department. We respond to medical calls, we respond to car accidents, fires. If there's rescues that happen to take place out in the superstitions, we'll respond to those as well. And on our fire trucks, we do feature 4 personnel who include a fire captain, an engineer who's the driver operator, and 2 firefighters who sit in the back seat. Now, of those 4 people on there, 2 of those people are paramedics and 2 of them are EMTs, emergency medical technicians. I spent a number of years myself as a paramedic in the field, and find this a great opportunity today to be able to read this book to you guys for Arbor Day and to be able to talk about sustainability. And the book that I'm gonna read today is called The Lorax. It is by our friend Dr. Seuss. So, without further ado, great thing about Dr. Seuss books is they've got a great deal of colors and pictures, and sometimes the movies just don't do it justice when you go back and take a look at the books, right? So, right here again, the Lorax. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows and no birds ever sing excepting old crows is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. Look at this, he's sitting there peeking through. Look at the houses. That's what I was always amazed about these Dr. Seuss houses, that I always wanted to live in one. Did you when you were a kid? Or even as an adult, I still think I want to live in one of these houses. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffled moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He tells you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. If you happen to have one of those, right? Then he pulls up the pail, makes the most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. He then hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange glove, or excuse me, his secret strange hole, his grovelous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by the whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slup! Down slups the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear. Since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with this teeth ground sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the day when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swans rang out in a space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And at first I saw the trees, the trufula trees, the bright colored tufts of the trufula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Look at that. Look at all the great colors. This doesn't look like Mesa or Arizona for that matter, does it? And under the trees, I saw brown Barbaloots frisking about in their Barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate trufula fruits. From the rippleless pond came this comfortable sound of the humming fish humming and while splashing around. Look at that. Again, this is one of those places where as a kid, I always just wanted to visit. But those trees, those trufula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. This touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leap of joy in my heart. I knew just what I had to do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with the greatest skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted it the need. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the tip of my tongue, at the tip and top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, what's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a need. A need's a find something that's all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, sir, you're crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool the need. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the need I was knitting was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You'll never can tell what some people will buy. And look at that, there he goes, walking off with this new need. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him, shut up if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and aunts and uncles, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Wunsler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wunsler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting the needs, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now, chopping one tree at a time was just too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making the needs 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. Look at that, look at the efficiency in that, right? Wow, but the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown Barbaloots who played in the shade of their Barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to you hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around, and my poor Barbaloots are getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Look at these poor guys, their bellies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food and hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Wunsler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of the crummies and tummies, you know. Look, I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads, so that the needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more the needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffled, he sneezed, he snuffed, he snargled, he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a clostracious croak. Onceler, you're making my smogulous smoke. You're making such a smogulous smoke, he said. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. Look at these poor guys. And look at this, notice the smoke all coming out. Notice our skies are starting to look a little different, aren't they? And so said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax. He dandered. His dander was way up. Let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machine chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup. Also sloppity slop, and what do you do with the leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty onceler man. You dirty onceler man, you. Look at that. You're glumping the pond where the hummering fish hummed. No more can they hum, their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins, get woefully weary, in search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truthful trees into the needs which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truthful tree of them all. I'll tell you what, no more trees, no more the needs. No more work to be done. So, in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. Look at that. Completely different from the beginning of the book, right? The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself, took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. That was a long, long ago, but each day since the day I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems pretty clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truthful seed. It's a truthful seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truthful seeds, and the truthful trees are what everyone needs. Plant a great trufula, treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all my friends may come back. Okay, one of the things that I appreciate about our fire department is that we're constantly working on conservation. We also obviously know that there's a need for trees out here, and for our firefighters, we also understand that hiking is a great, for us, hiking is extremely important, and having access to shade trees, not only for us, but for some of those other individuals in our community that like to spend times at parks, because once we know that people are being able to drink fresh, clean water and have access to shade, that could decrease the need for emergency services. And so knowing that our environment is extremely delicate is something that's important to all of us at our fire stations and for our crews. And so we want you to also do your due diligence in turning off your lights, disposing of your trash, and helping protect trees. And of course, one thing I forgot to mention is if we don't have trees, we don't have access to fruits. And so we also like to eat healthy. And so we want you to do the same in helping us protect our environment. Thank you very much.